is Hobby Talk with PSA Canada for January 19th, 2023. We've got Mr. Luke back. Good evening, Luke. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Doing well, doing well. Last week we're world building. Even on the PSA Canada channel, we world build. So obviously Luke did the hostile takeover, and then Brad Hartland reclaimed it in a bloodless coup, and now they've chosen to coexist. So that's very nice of you. Very nice of you both. Very magnanimous. Sounds good. So we're going to chat through a couple of different things as usual. If there's any questions or comments there, we'll get it from the chat. I also do have a basically a PSA reveal because I did my one of my groups from the expo have come back. So I had Brad grab the magical box. I know what cards are in it, but I don't know what the results are, and we're going to find out together. So I think that should be a little bit of fun just to add a little wrinkle to it, and then we'll talk about whatever else you guys want to chat about. So, Hobby Cop, hi guys. Wanted to say hi. We'll watch tomorrow. Got to hit the sack. 4:30 for work. Understood. Understood. Thanks for popping in. Nico, good evening. Absolutely. And then hello to Logan. Absolutely. It's good stuff. So yeah, like I said, we'll chat about whatever you guys want to chat about, and in any regards to that, we'll see how things are going to go here. I have been listening in on the PSA pod, I will say, and I'm curious now, especially as we get into this month. Right now, nothing on the horizon, nothing that we've heard of, but I think it's going to be very interesting because I do recommend, in addition to supplement to what we're checking out here, do check it out because occasionally the PSA president will go on there, and it's kind of interesting to kind of listen to what he says because occasionally it's like almost dropping little hints here and there, and just kind of bear in mind, it gets you thinking a little bit, and that's something that I've done myself. So, Brad, I think you're kind of in the same boat as well, right?
Absolutely. 100%. You can kind of read between the lines sometimes on what potentially could be coming up. So I didn't have a chance to watch last night's or listen to last night's one yet. Did you listen to it already?
Yeah, I listened to it. Nothing crazy on this one, but it's one of those things where it's already been stated that the specials are still in play. I think what they've decided, and something that surprised me a little bit, but at the same time I get it. I think they're comfortable with their current pricing structure. They just introduced it, but again, they left open the ability to put in specials. So it's one of those things where don't be shocked if in a couple of weeks there's a special. The impression that I get is that I think they're going to run through the month of January as is, but then come February 1st or something, it could suddenly be like, hey, by the way, guys, this category, because all you have to do is watch the landscape. SGC put in a new pricing structure or a special for Pokemon cards. Not shocking, given that that's an area that is a weakness for them, but it's been an area for strength for PSA. And from Kevin's time discussing it on here previously, we know that Pokemon, like all you have to do is do the gem rate data. Go look at the breakdown. Pokemon and TCGs, very strong. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to try to make some inroads, that's probably a good category for them to make some inroads on. And that $15 special was very well received. We know this for a fact.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when you see that they're waiting until February, and all of a sudden in January, when I look at the orders that are done, it's almost like January they're doing some house cleaning, because all of a sudden we've had a lot of orders that were just lagging behind, like really old ones that are getting cleaned up now and coming back. So when I look at that, all of a sudden it's like, all right, guys, maybe let's go January. We're going to do something in February. Let's clean house here. Let's make sure we get rid of all these orders that were problem orders or oversized or had something wrong with them. Let's clean all these things up so we can start fresh in February. Maybe we can offer a special. So,
yeah. It's one of those things where I think the idea here is we can't guess at this point what they're going to do. Every time we think we know what they're going to do or have like a theory, it's like then they'll do it on a weirder timeline or completely different, or they'll just randomly surprise us. Like, you know what? I'm done trying to guess what you guys are doing. Since I don't have the red phone turned on and they don't call me ahead of time, you know what? I'm not even going to guess anymore. Y'all do you. I'll just respond and react to whatever it is when the moment comes. That's the approach I think we're going to take with it. Sounds good. So thank you to Logan. He's got his heave away here. Reference for you. And then Adriano, good evening. Absolutely. All right, so let's do it. I've got the list in front of me of the one I think you got there, so that should be the right one. So this is one of my submissions. So it was broken up into 3 pieces. So I had one that was all bulk except for one value card that should be in there. And then I've got one that is vintage. The vintage, by the way, we've talked about before, that tends to be the slowest. And then there's one more that, funny enough, the other one was the one that was the higher tier, which was 3 PC cards. And I don't know if that one, I have to check what the status is on that one, but that one isn't, I don't think, part of the stack you have there. So most of these are PC ones, including, I believe, We're going to get the infamous MLB Showdown card on this one.
Yeah,
Should be
absolutely.
All
100%.
right, so Brad, you tell me. We're going to do the PSA reveal here. You tell me whatever the first card is, and then I'll add whatever commentary as we go.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to come back onto the screen. So I just, I lost this for a second.
That's all right. It's all you, Brad. You tell me when you're ready.
There you are. Okay, sorry.
You good?
I was clicking on your order just to see the other one. So the other one did ship, so it should be here tomorrow, hopefully.
All right. Well, if we get a chance, we'll do the reveal on the Friday show on that one, because that one's the irony is that by the way, for the record, the bulk ones beat the one that I paid for the higher tier to get here, which is hilarious in its own way. All right. So what is the first card you got there in the stack?
The first one, they should go in order. The Pujols 2001 MLB Showdown Pennant Run Albert Pujols.
The only real Albert Pujols rookie card in existence, the only one that matters.
Okay, I'm going to try to get the best angle.
Yeah, so you got to they're nice, but you got to tilt it down a little bit. All right, so you have to read it. I can't see it with the light in there.
Yeah, I know. I was going to try to get this geared up.
It looks like it looks like an 8.
It's an 8. Yeah. Sorry, I do have another camera that we just got, so I'll be able to do this a lot better for next week when they do a reveal.
No problem. So that would make sense. The dark borders doesn't shock me, especially with the dark borders on the back of those. I'll have to take a look at it, but that wouldn't shock me. I've had that one for a while.
So that's an 8. Next, we have 2018 Panini Cyber Monday Juan Soto.
Yep.
Which is a PSA 9.
Nice.
So again, I'll show you. You can see the card, but you can't see the top part.
All right, no worries. Sounds good.
Next,
we got a run of wrestling cards. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. So 2021 AEW Dr. Britt Baker Pyro.
Yep. Every single one of these has terrible quality control, so I'll give Billy a hard time. We'll see. So this is the Pyro one. What do you got for this one?
The first one is an 8. The Pyro.
All right. Not shocking. The cardboard stock on those is like razor thin. The Pyro thing, sometimes it even peels off. That's what made me laugh.
Perfect. Next we have again Britt Baker, and this one's the yellow one.
Yep.
And it's a PSA 10.
Oh, on the yellow one, interesting.
Yeah.
So those ones are actually exclusive. They're actually inside of a pack that's located in the action figures. I didn't buy the action figure, but I bought it on eBay that way, so I'm actually kind of surprised.
Okay. Next is Britt Baker, just the actual base card, and it's a PSA 9.
Mm-hmm. Now take a look at the bottom underneath her name. There is actually written there. That's actually called the finisher. It's not actually the base card.
Oh, it says Lockjaw.
Yep, that's actually a finisher one. So if it doesn't say finisher on there, then they missed the parallel.
Gotcha.
Yep.
See, I'm learning here.
No worries.
Next, we have Britt Baker exclusive, numbered out of 100.
That's right.
And this is a PSA 8.
Yep. Nice. Those ones are going into the PC, so it should be good. But it doesn't shock me. That was one thing I was kind of curious. I wanted to see what they would come out with, but I was like, the quality control on that one. Billy, we're gonna have to work on that for the future editions.
Next, Britt Baker High Gloss is a PSA 9.
Yeah, and that one's the out of 10.
Yeah.
So that's a real tough one.
Number 9 to 10.
Yep.
Next, we have Britt Baker Autograph.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a PSA 9.
All right, not too bad. Nice.
Next, we have Britt Baker Autograph, and it is the AEW magazine, and it is a PSA 9.
All right, so consistency on the 2 autographs, so that's not too bad.
Next, we have AEW Wardlow.
Yep, Wardlow. Yep.
Wardlow, and it's an F10 on the bottom. So is that like a?
That's the finisher. That is the same one. Yep.
So that's F10, and that is a PSA 10.
Oh wow, on the Wardlow. That's surprising.
Yep.
That's not bad.
He looks like a big dude.
Yeah, he is actually. I saw him at the show. He is a big dude.
Then we got 2021 Upper Deck AEW Wardlow again, and the yellow is a PSA 10.
I'm surprised the 210s held up. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad. All right.
Next, we have the same card, but the exclusive version of Wardlow, numbered out of 100, and it's an 8.
So the 2 8s and the 2 exclusives. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to finish up the order, we're over to baseball. It's 2018 Panini Chronicles, Juan Soto Prism Green rookie, numbered out of 50. And it is a PSA 10.
And that'll go with the other PSA 10 that I have of the exact same card. So now I've got 2 of those. So 2 of the population for that are actually both mine.
Awesome.
Nice. And to answer Josh's question, the TCG card came back as a PSA 8.
Yeah.
And now I have a lot of evidence to lord over Billy Cilio from Upper Deck. Quality control, Billy. It's a lot of 8s there, Billy. Some of those came straight from PAX, Billy. Got to give him a hard time. I'm contractually obligated.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Overall, not too bad. I'm actually okay with a bunch of those because it is PC stuff. So for PC stuff, I'm not too worried about it. I was surprised. The 2 yellows came back 10s, which is actually pretty good, and the 2 yellows came back 10s, which actually surprised me because again, they came inside of an exclusive pack that was inside of the action figure. So you had to have the specially marked action figures. By the way, the print run of those is probably lower than people think for the yellows. So getting both those back 10s is kind of interesting.
There you go. And Yannick, I'm going to ship these to you tomorrow too, if you're out there. Sorry, I meant to do that last week as well, but
he is indeed. He says good evening. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Good evening, Jeff. So I'll get caught up here in the comments. Golden Slumber, I'm in Toronto. Wish to submit a Mantle signed Hall of Fame plaque. At your site, I only see one form to authenticate and grade, but I just want authentication. Does PSA do just that?
Yeah, you can send it. You have to do it through You have to go to psacard.com and go under PSA DNA, and you can do it there. We only are accepting trading cards at this time. We're not doing anything else with PSA DNA, at least for the first half of 2023.
Sounds good. Let me see here. And here's Eric says, if these are not going to be hard get cards, I'm leaving. Perfect. You're still paying for the like button, though. Just to let you know. Your attendance is not required for that. Just to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we answered that one. Brad, just to understand the shipping grading table Excel sheet, what does Q2 column mean with the date listed on the order slate? What part of the process would it mean for me?
Yeah, so when you see on the first page of PSACanada.ca as well, on the website, it goes over what each stage means, and it will give it to you. Q2 is the final quality check before the cards hit shipping. But if you just go on the main page, you can see all the steps. We put the definition of what they all mean right on it.
Absolutely. So one quick point here that Sherry is making that I'll include in there is that on the website, you do have the different statuses included, which is a fair point. I'll quickly actually show it just so that you guys have it as well. So give me a second, I'll share it with you. And it's a good reference point, and the website is scrolling there on the ticker, so you guys can always check it out just to give you a heads up on that. Let me pull it up. So right here, right at the bottom of the front page, if you go to psacanada.ca, here's all the different steps and exactly what they mean. They define them. So Q2, that's QA check number 2, and it tells you exactly what it is. Defines every single one of the steps. Just letting you guys know. It's always a good reference point.
Yeah, and we will be updating the website again. I did some updates today, but we didn't announce that. We didn't change the date at the top. Mm-hmm. But tomorrow you're going to see lots of movement and lots of arrivals in Halifax. So we're trying to. So when they shipped from PSA to us last time, we switched the order. So we put in red, we put Halifax. Again, it's a learning for us to understand how best to operate the website. But when we put Halifax, that means that we did that when it left Santa Ana and it wasn't actually here. So that took another two days. And then we had, with the amount of volume we had, it was probably another 2 or 3 days to get them all sorted, make sure everything was together and get ready to invoice. Mm-hmm. So this time we have boxes that are arriving tomorrow. We have probably 7,000 cards arriving tomorrow. But I'm not putting that on the website until they're actually physically here. And then that way it will go, because otherwise we just start getting emails that people, which is great. People are using the site. It's been fantastic for us. But as soon as people see it and it hits Halifax, they're like, hey, can you flip me my invoice? I see the cards are in Halifax, and that's great. But when you're dealing with hundreds of customers, that just takes up some time. So this time we're learning through trial and error.
Yep. Sounds good. So Yannick acknowledges that. Perfect. Good here too. Yep, that's the website there as well. Perfect. If that's the case, then the Langley Show cards were created pretty quick. Luke did his job fine. There you go, Luke. Good job by you. Good evening, Bobbles.
Wasn't all me, it was actually Sherry too.
There you go, exactly. Exactly right. Josh Here's said, didn't it get graded as a TCG card or sports card? I'm still not curious. I still don't know. Like, what did PSA consider it? Because, like I said, I stand by TCG because, frankly, it amuses me.
Yeah, I'm sure if we did submit it at a TCG special, we should try it. We'll get another one. We'll send it in with some Pokemon cards just to see, because it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a trading card game. It was certified. It was Wizards of the Coast, the whole 9 yards. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's personally one of my favorite ones, just because it is one of the more obscure Pujols rookies, and Beckett does consider it a rookie. So, and Eric considers that to be the Bible. So, frankly, that's the last word on that. Yeah, pretty good though. Overall submission. I did think it was interesting though. I wanted to give that point originally off the top is that, like I said, it had split it up into these pieces. The vintage one I knew would take the longest, so it was kind of doing its own thing. It's still doing that. The other one was the, I want to say, economy. Let's say it was economy.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, it was like a 3-card economy order, and that was the one that technically should be faster, and the bulk one got there quicker.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your economy. So the date that was received into the system at PSA was December 1st, and they shipped it on the 18th.
So yesterday. Got it.
Yeah.
So there you go. So maybe for tomorrow's live stream, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if that one comes up. That would be an interesting one, though. If you guys like your shiny 90s, that one's a good one for that one. So we'll see. But at least we found out the first section of it, so that's pretty good to know.
Yeah.
So Paul here. Hi guys, submitted Toronto showing the yellow sheet of my order, but how do I know what my order number is so I can follow on the site?
Perfect. Paul, Sherry will shoot that right over to you. Yep.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Paul, for the question. By the way, also, if you check out the replay after the fact, 2 things. Number 1, you can always leave a question in the comments section. Don't leave personal information. But if you have a general question, you can always leave it in there so it gets checked out and responded to. Second, you can also go to the website that's scrolling down there or the Instagram and send a message and ask. So you do have that ability. But since we're on here and Paul's asking, so that'll allow him to get his information. So that's fine. Perfect. Other than that, I know that you guys are still kind of busy working through the expo stuff. Obviously, you've gotten a lot of it back, so now invoices are going to start going out. I think that's what's next on the process for a lot of that stuff, is getting the folks are going to start getting their emails, and then it's time to pay the piper to get your cardboard.
Yeah, exactly. I had my first absolute dismissal from a guy that he told me exactly how it went down. I called about his order, and he said he was it was 6 months. It's been 6 months since we sent him the invoice. So I said, I'm just going to start to call some of these people just to see. So I called him, and he was perfectly fine. He was upset about life, I think, in general, but he said his cars broke down. His girlfriend left him. He has no money. He does not care about cardboard. He goes, keep my cards. And I said, all right, no problem. Have a great day. So that's the first time. There was no BSing, no anything. He was in a bad spot. So I looked at his order, and it's I think it's 25 cards. So, and he submitted them at value. So at that time it was $42 a card. So it's about $1,000. It's going to be very, I don't know. We're probably going to lose. They're probably worth about 700 or 800. So we'll lose a couple $100 in that order, but it's going to happen. We knew, when you don't collect up front, this is going to happen. So it's on a small scale. So hopefully everyone else pays though.
No, that's fair enough. Speaking of payment, we get charged the accurate HST for the province we live in, correct? And not where the cards are being shipped from?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. So we adjust whatever province you're in, that's the HST that you pay.
Absolutely. Good question. Thank you, Nico.
It's nice. We should mention that too. A lot of people, most of our bigger submitters are all registered businesses. So if that's something that you do in Canada, I believe the threshold's about 30 grand. So if you do 30,000 in business, then you are required to collect and submit HST over 30 grand. So a lot of people that are submitting a lot of cards probably should look into getting that done.
Yeah. Well, we got a similar thing going on in the stateside, where the folks, some folks are celebrating that they're getting to defer filling in because they're not getting those forms from eBay and from a lot of those other ones. It's like, you still have to pay your taxes. Eventually, if they come and audit it, it's like, actually, you're supposed to be paying them all along. They didn't really get away with anything, but they're not sending you a specific form, but it's like just letting you know you're probably going to have to pay it anyway down the road, and later on they'll just give you a form making it even more official.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's part of the rules. That's part of what's going on. Now, question for you, Brad. Just in general, obviously, as you guys are processing it, anything surprise you? Anything, any trends or anything that you're capturing? Because you took in a lot of cards from Expo. So anything kind of caught your eye as things started coming in and processing?
You know what surprised me actually was over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the amount of cards that we received, even in the 1st of January. Like I think I shipped off, I don't know, 5 or 6,000 cards this week, which it surprises me. Like I thought we'd have this kind of lull in January, February. I didn't think we'd have that volume coming in,
Yep.
especially with the price adjustment, etc. But yeah, that really did shock me. The cards coming back, I think again, people are getting smarter. Like people are getting smarter at submitting their cards, right? And including when the price went up, people started to look more. When it was $8 a card, how hard did you scrutinize on sending your card in? You didn't care as much. Then when the price hit, it was $100. All of a sudden, people were submitting cards, and they're like, "I got to really look at this. I got to make sure that I'm sending in the proper stuff." So even now, the Toronto orders coming back, like you see a lot of, you don't on modern cards, you don't see a lot of lower grades. Like they're really 9s or 10s. You don't see a lot of 7s, 8s, etc. So.
Wow, unless we got the Upper Deck AEW product, then we got some questions on a couple of those things. Like
True.
I'm just saying, they're individuals that will be dealt with. To be, jokes aside, as much as I enjoy kind of poking fun at them, I kind of knew with the way they did the foil, because for whatever reason, I opened boxes of that stuff. The QC, It better be PC. It better be PC because it's not gonna work. I've seen a lot of 9s. Let's put it that way. Even the really nice one, I've seen a lot of 9s.
Yeah.
Not a lot of 10s. I think a 10 is gonna be a premium on a couple of those.
Well, I should say, I think I was on your stream, Carlos, that I said I sent in a William Nylander Young Gun. Anyways, it came back. I got a PSA 6, and I just was like, what did I possibly miss? But I can clearly see the print line in the back now, but obviously I didn't look at that one close enough. So
yeah, right. Bobbles here says any trans Jason Robinson cards, but you have all the Jason Robinson cards unless Bobbles submits the PSA confirmed. I don't think there are any Jason Robinson cards left other than the ones that Bobbles has.
Me and Bobbles have an agreement. We just we use each other and recommend each other's services. So.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Just making sure we're all on the same page. Just saying. Like, look, I'm not aware of any Jason Robinson cards in existence that Bobble doesn't personally have a hand in. So the only way PSA could have Jason Robinson cards is if someone is providing them. Yeah. Just throwing it out there.
Is that 1-of-1 PMG still up on eBay? I know he looks at it a lot.
Oh yeah, like listen, he's trying. I'm sure allegedly he's trying to figure out what kidneys are nearby that might take care of this for him. It's like they're getting expensive, and we haven't even gotten to the cup stuff yet. Let's not even discuss the cup. If and when that shows up, that's going to make things real interesting, I think. If you submit a 20-card bulk order, but one card doesn't get graded for whatever reason, does that bump you out of qualifying for bulk pricing? When you do the bulk submission through this, it doesn't matter. The bulk pricing doesn't kick in. If you're submitting personally, that's a different thing entirely.
It's kind of, so if you go to our website, we got rid of the bulk part. We just call it value. Just because when you say bulk, it does confuse people. As soon as people say, oh, for bulk pricing, how many cards do I got to submit? You can submit one card with us and you still get bulk pricing. So
yeah, technically speaking, JD66 here, when you're submitting through a bulk submitter like this, they are submitting in bulk. Like they're literally submitting a bulk of cards. Yours is included as part of it. You got your own order number. But in the totality, it's bulk. Therefore, it still qualifies even if you send in one card.
Yeah.
So the 20 cards doesn't matter. If you're doing it on your own, then you have to kind of consult with them and see how they want to treat that. Picked with J-Rob Daily Fantasy League tonight. That's showing some confidence there. We'll have to see. Rod is a big fan of AEW. Love it. Let's see here. Scrolling through. Between Q2 and Halifax, what would be the time duration between those two average about? There is no average. I can tell you right now, Q2 is its own beast. Sometimes it's quick, and sometimes it takes a little while. But there's no rhyme. I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason to Q2. Just trust me on that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. If you want to average it, between 1 day and 1,000 days. So, I'm not saying that completely jest.
And one thing that does, so based upon everything that I'm seeing now from August on, we haven't had any orders that have gone beyond the max turnaround time. So that's great to see. So that's why we keep on using these, and they are coming back even quicker. But we still always want to say that is the max turnaround time. But when you get to Q2, that is like when you read the definition of it. So if an order hits Q2 and all of a sudden there's a hair inside the slab, or there's a crack, or there's something wrong when they do the final, that gets sent all the way back, the whole order. So the whole order goes back. I guess maybe into their, I'm guessing at this, but into their problem slab era. So sometimes that it could be in Q2, and if it gets sent back, it could be a month. It could be a month or 2 months after that. Very seldom. Usually Q2, it moves pretty quick to shipping, but there is no rhyme or reason. So,
or 3 months.
No, like the reason I say it this way is that I know people who have it on Q2, and then some, for whatever reason it just sits on Q2. I have other folks where it goes Q2 and then boom, ship. It's one of those things where you can't ahead of time know for sure
Yeah.
what it's going to be. So I was saying, like, once it gets to Q2, you are in the last step, but the turnaround between that and the shipping part, your guess is as good as mine.
I know. I talked to a guy that submits with Luke a fair bit, that goes to the national a lot. The guy that we talk about. Anyways, he said to me today, he's like, I got an order back in 30 days on my own, and I was like, yeah, it happens. And then as we talk later on, he goes, oh, but I got an order that I submitted in July. It's a 500 card order, and I'm still waiting for it. I said, oh, really? Still waiting for that one in July, right? Like, it's funny. You always hear these stories, but.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Like that's why I try to be like very honest when someone asks that question. It's like your mileage will vary. I've definitely seen cases where like go Q2, boom, ship within very short order, completely fine. Other ones, delayed. For the most part, like I said, to your point, for the most part, in the stuff that I've shipped through you guys, it's usually by the time it's nearing the end, it gets there, and then the stuff ships, and then we move on, and then we proceed for the rest of the process and get the cards in. So here, Eric is asking a question: is there a PSA DNA set registry? So I know you can access the regular set registry, but do you know if they've got the DNA one in there too?
I can't answer that.
Yeah, the set registry app I know for a fact has the info, the regular set registry stuff, but the DNA one's a good question. Not sure.
I don't know.
Have to look into that one. That's a good question.
I use the PSA set registry, but I have never used.
I would be surprised if it wasn't incorporated into the same app though, because they're asking the same. They're asking the same. What's it called? They're accessing the same server, so it wouldn't shock me if that was the case. Who are you picking cheering to win the Super Bowl this year? Ooh. Do you have a horse in the race? I would like the Bills to win it for no other reason than the Buffalo folks. Throw them a bone. Give them a break.
Yeah, that's what Tom Brady said too. He decided to let everyone else have a chance this year. So
I think it was very generous of him to suck that badly to really allow everyone else.
Hey, had to do it. So I'm cheering. I'm cheering for Buffalo.
There you go. And you got a horse in the race, Luke? You got anybody you're rooting for? Even a little rooting interest in?
No, I think Buffalo. Yeah, I'd like to see them win.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But it'll be tight.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll put it this way. My rooting interest would be for Buffalo. I would like to see them do well. I think this is as good an opportunity for them as any. What it's really going to come down to, my opinion, for the way this year is stacked out, I think the AFC has the advantage. So I think I'm an NFC guy for my team and everything, but I think the AFC has the advantage. I think they would be favored. Kansas City, Buffalo, even a Cincinnati, I'd be a little more comfortable. Like, basically, if I look at the AFC bracket, whoever comes out of the AFC, if they're reasonably healthy, I like them against insert any NFC opponent you want. And that includes Philadelphia, that includes Dallas, that includes any of them. I would still favor the AFC team over the NFC team in almost any matchup we go, unless it's really random, unless it's like Jacksonville. Then I'm like, all right, your guess is as good as mine. Good luck.
Yeah.
But if it's one of the strong AFC teams, I think they've got the advantage over the NFC teams. That's my opinion. How can I submit thick cards that are tight for the card saver?
Top loaders. Just use top loaders. The other thing that I wanted to mention, actually, it's a good point, is when you are submitting cards, and if you're going to have a thick card and it's in a top loader, make sure you use some painter's tape or whatever on the top of the top loader. Painter's tape and fold down both ends. You would not believe how many cards we get in packages. And when I open up the pack, excuse me, when I open it up, you can see there's no painter's tape on the top, and the cards are actually moving up and down on them. And it's mind blowing how many there is.
Yep, that's fair. Thank you, Zombie Line. Kevin says, I shall return next week. I wanted to be here tonight, but now shadow the plans. Understand. Thank you, Kevin. Bobble says, try. People asking where orders are after 3 days. Well, SGC only grades like 5 cards a week. So, like, it should be 20. I already covered this. It should be 3 minutes. It should be card in, card out, personally hand delivered in a velvet bag. That's like the minimum. And it better be like $3 a card or else it's a ripoff. Just saying. Just saying.
You know what's funny? I guarantee, even with 3-day turnaround, I know he's being a little bit of tongue in cheek there,
Yeah.
but I guarantee there is people.
Oh, I guarantee that. Yeah.
Oh, where's my card? It's been 4 days.
Well, listen. I've joked with Bobbles offline a number of times about this. The whole thing with SGC, because he's SGC Bulk Submitter, he likes to brag about the speed. I'm like, dude, I don't care how fast it is. If that's all I'm getting for it, I want it even faster. I want 1 hour turnaround, and I want you to already have the grade for me before I even submitted the card. That's what a real fast company would do. If you want us wow we with speed, then you better be ahead of the game. Ahead of the game. Good evening from the Arctic Circle. Good evening, Paul. Painter's tape, at least team bagger up. Yep. Look, when it comes to cards and shipping, the only thing you really want to do is minimize movement. It's the same thing on the individual card. It's also the same thing when you're stacking the cards together. You want to minimize the amount of shuffling around in the box that you have. That would be your best bet.
Yeah.
Do you think a potential neutral site AFC Championship game favors Buffalo or KC? I don't think it's going to make a difference this year. I think both those teams are well built enough that if it became a neutral site game for them, I think both. I don't think any team has an advantage or a disadvantage. I think both teams would be very comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm serious. People ask within days. I can't imagine if it was months. I think it's based on a lot of impatience and it's also the standard. Remember, the marketing copy SGC does is we turn it around super fast. I said, well then, I'd be calling you within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd be calling you every hour on the hour. From the moment the cards arrive in your possession, every hour on the hour. Peter.
It's funny, when I first started, I look back at that now and I shake my head but we offered a service that the terminology that I used was, and Luke was one of our number one customers. It was 30-day guaranteed turnaround time. So we submitted 100,000 cards at 30-day guaranteed turnaround time. That fortunately we got them back in 6 or 7 months. But still, so me starting out in this business, and all of a sudden, 90% of the people I didn't know, and they're calling me and, yeah, you told me 30 business days guaranteed, and I was like, well, yeah, that's what I was told to say. Sorry, it was bad. It was bad.
Nice. So let's see here. So I'm gonna ignore it for now, but like on one side, I'll see that Logan looks like he's retracting his comment. On the other side, obviously, I can see it. So Logan, if you're retracting your comment, let me know. But if you want me to read it, I can read it. This just looks like a question about QB cards, which is fine. I have no problem reading it, but you let me know. This is a comment that I feel like should be retracted. No one really cares about that. Let me read this one. So Peter says, received an order back from PSA Canada last week. Great service always. Any prediction for possible pricing changes at the start of February, like vintage? I don't think you're going to get anything special for vintage. I do think there is a likelihood, not imminent, because again, we don't have the inside track on that, unfortunately. But I do think we're going to get some kind of specials. I don't know if they'll be monthly. I don't know if they'll be quarterly. I don't know what that's going to look like. But I'm getting this from the PSA president, who has in interviews stated that the whole specials thing will still be in play. I think they're very comfortable with the pricing structure now going forward. I think they're going to balance out how much they're receiving. So it's one of those things like those $15 specials got them a lot of volume. So now they clear through the volume, and then they kind of reevaluate where they are. Now, the lowest tier now is not like super high, but I think a lot of folks would like something 10-ish, like a 10, the equivalent of 10 US-ish. 10 to 12 is kind of the number I kept throwing out because in my head it makes sense for set registry. It makes sense for those ones in like vintage, again, in the same vein. I feel like it feels to me like since they seem to be comfortable with their structure, I'm wondering if that's going to be a case where like, okay, set registry, specials. That's how they're going to have to hit it. They're just going to go like, okay, so set registry. So say vintage, for example, $12, $14, $15, grading for set registry between these years. And it'll be some kind of a theme to it, similar to the TCG thing. But they don't do it every time. They just do it for maybe a month at a time or 2 months at a time, and then roll it off, let that one go off, and then you switch over to a different category. So maybe you do a vintage for one or set registry, and then you do a TCG for another, and just keep rotating them out. So you're still getting stuff all the time, but you're not getting bombarded consistently, and you're just running through the stuff. That's just a guess based on what I've been hearing.
And I'm not to talk about, but Peter Collect, I guess I love looking at his cards when they come back. There's always some very unique, cool stuff. That is one of the greatest perks of this job, when you get to see stuff coming back. And anytime I see an order from Peter, it's always usually something that I didn't see, or something. I really enjoy it. So
I think it's fair. Josh here. Exactly. No one cares. No one cares. But you know what they do care about? They care about hitting the like button. Because every time we hit the like button, this Boston Bruins fan here, he pays. And he should pay. Because he's bragging about the Boston Bruins winning a regular season game. Think of how sad an existence that is. He thinks regular season games matter. It's sad, really. Tragic. Luke, any thoughts?
No, not much. Sorry, I'm just watching the hockey game as well. So.
I kind of figured that. I saw your eyes wander off. I had to kind of check you on it and be like, hey, you still got to participate in this one a little bit here. So Nico says, what happened to your arch nemesis, Hockey 99? Well, Hockey 99 is more Brad's arch nemesis. I kind of just have him around all the time. I'm assuming by the smile that Brad had when we saw him earlier, he might have taken care of him. He might have talked to a guy about a thing, and all of a sudden it's like, he made a call. I don't know.
We did our best to try to figure out who he was, but it didn't. We knew he was sitting in section 36, I think, for the gold medal game or the semifinal game, but we couldn't determine.
And here's Eric being rude. He's always so rude to people. Luke is my favorite. He only likes you because you're claiming to watch hockey. You should tell him you're watching your soaps. He'd respect more if you told the truth. Sounds good. Let me just scroll through here.
I will give a little. So we have we have trade night at AMG. This is not PSA Canada related. Well, it is in a way, because we'll be taking submissions tomorrow night at trade night as well, which is great. So we have, and our show we have trade night tomorrow night at AMG here in Halifax. And then there's a show in Moncton on Saturday that I'm going to go up to if the weather's permitting. Mm-hmm. And then next week we have our big show in Halifax, which we have, if Doug's in the chat, he can confirm, but I'm I know we're sold out now. 50 dealers and 150 tables.
Yeah, I saw the post from Doug on Facebook, and from what I understood, I guess there's like a wait list. So it sounds like it's done very well. Yeah,
no, it's awesome, and it's a great show to attend. Lots of affordable stuff, lots of fun, lots of stuff to go through, so you can really enjoy your day. So
excellent, good to hear. I like the sound of this. I think down the road, I think what we need though, Brad, and this is where you're going to have to get your own people on it. I would love to see a vlog from the show. I'd like to see a little walk around this show, just because, again, regional show, we don't get a chance to see it over on the other side. But given that it's been consistent and seemed that you guys have had good luck having a good set of dealers, and if you got some foot traffic, it'd be kind of cool just to see a little look around, just to see what's going on.
You know what? Like, I was just thinking about that. All the YouTube channels that I watch, with the shows from all over the states. I mean, Michael Ham does them all the time, and when you look at them, but I don't remember seeing anything in Canada, even at any of the shows. Really.
Well, the only thing that happens is I know some people will do some for like the expo. I've gone out of my way in a couple of times to do a couple of walkarounds, but it's tricky at expo because you got so many aisles and so much. You literally have to dedicate yourself to walking around. But I feel like in a modest size show, it shouldn't be too bad to be able to. At this point, you can do it with an iPhone. Like you don't have to have like a fancy rig. Just somebody who's willing to take a couple of minutes and walk around a little bit and maybe say hi to a few folks, and there you go. There's your video. You don't have to go crazy, but I think it'd be fun to have.
That's it. I'm going to fly Josh from Roth Cards up so he can do his him or Kenny Fornos. And they can do their videos. Just make sure to master the Jish.
That's very important. You got to have that. NB Collectibles here. It's got thanks for the work and help, guys. Thanks to Luke for my submission the past year or two. There you go, Luke. Some love for you. Doug here is saying close to $60, 2 dealers on the wait list. That's solid. That actually sounds really good, actually. Multi-purpose room in Halifax Forum. Yep, it is the multi-purpose room. Perfect. Yep. Good stuff. So it sounds to me like, actually, yeah, it does sound to me like I honestly would just get somebody to spend about 20 minutes and just walk the floor a little bit. Like, honestly, I don't have to go crazy. Just have somebody take 20 minutes and walk around the floor a little bit just to get the vibe of the room, just with people around. I think it'd be kind of a fun thing to throw up there.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do that. I think, you know what, Kyle? I think that's a great job for Sherry. What do you think, Luke?
Yep. I think we'll get it done for sure. We'll get it done for sure in June, at the June show.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's a good thing though to give the atmosphere. There, like in all seriousness, like there's little better promotion than actually letting people see it. Like it's, oh, actually, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even people from elsewhere would be like, oh, so this show in Halifax is doing like, hey, look at how many people are around. Look at how many people are looking at tables and stuff. It's just good to see it because then in your mind you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Is there donaires there?
Confidence. I love the confidence.
Oh yeah, we'll have some we'll have a donaire set up as well. A donaire show.
Nice, nice. All right, so Logan's got here. What do you think, obviously, with Ovechkin coming closer to past Gretzky's cold total? Do you think his cards will go up, especially with PSA 10 at 8,000 right now? Do you already think that would go up anymore? So the possibility, so I'll throw in my 2 cents into it. There is going to be another window. I think the current window has closed for now because passing Howe was his next big milestone, and he's playing great this year. So I think that's been really good. The next part, though, is what's going to come. What's going to come next is going to be a little bit complex because it's going to be a little bit of a lull period. Where even if Ovechkin continues to score at a great clip, because right now he's scoring at over 50 goals for the season clip, which is fantastic, and even goes next season starts off hot, it's still a couple of seasons away. Like even if he scores 50 goals this year, you go from where he was, that'd be 830 goals by the end of the season. So that's 50 goals for the season, which would be fantastic. That'd be another 50 goal season, which by the way I think might give him the record for most 50 goal seasons. I think that'd be number 10, which is another massive milestone, another feather in his cap, so to speak, as a goal scorer. But then next season, he'd still be about 60. He'd be 65 away. He has another great season. Say he scores 40, 45 goals. Then one more season, he needs 20 goals. So there's still that gap. The good news is now stateside, with ESPN having the rights to the NHL, he's going to get a lot of attention as he keeps creeping closer and closer. Every goal, there'll be little countdown shows and stuff, and they'll keeping track of it. It keeps it in people's mind. But this is not a one-season record. It's the thing like he's still a couple of seasons away, even at great goal-scoring pace. So I think it'll be, when he starts getting really close, I think there will be another little surge as he starts heading into that direction. And then obviously by the time he does it, then that's already baked in. I hope you already sold your card. Because then you'll actually be able to buy it on a little bit of a dip afterwards, because it's the anticipation leading to, especially that kind of a record, it's the anticipation. But that's still a couple of years away for now. So I do see one more window. I don't know, especially PSA 10 at 8,000 right now. I'd be curious for which card you're talking about on that one.
The Young Gun.
Is the Young Gun up to 8K?
Yeah, it's around, like it hit a peak. They were selling for 12K Canadian.
Yeah.
They were selling at 12K at one point. If you go back, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago.
Yeah.
Then they dipped down. You could probably pick them at 6. We sold one for, what did we sell? We sold it for 6,800. Mm-hmm. That was like 2 weeks ago. So probably around 7K, in around that range if you want to get one right now. I just checked the pop report too. There's a 1,085. I wish I could know. I feel, actually my uncle will have this. I'll be able to say next week. He started to do the pop reports over the last like 3-4 years on Young Guns. Mm-hmm. So we can go back and see how many it's increased by. I remember we started to think that Ovechkin Young Guns would probably settle in around 12 or 1,300 PSA 10s at some point. That was kind of the estimate. Him and Crosby are really close. So, and I think McDavid and Matthews are running pretty close to each other. They're up around 2,500 PSA 10s each, I think now.
Right.
So, which isn't a lot. When you think of Ovechkin's Young Gun, like 1,085 PSA 10s, that's not a crazy amount, that's for sure. Of such a popular card.
Yeah.
PSA 10s out of how many cards you rated?
2,400.
So 50%.
Yeah. There's 1,085 10s, 925 9s, 268s.
Yeah, I think though, to be fair, it's also back. This is now, which is crazy to think, because I remember the rookie year for Crosby and Ovechkin very well. That's 18 years ago. It's like the numbers were not what they are today. Like the Young Guns are printed in much higher numbers, especially the last several years. It's one of those things. I think there's a bunch of folks who probably are sitting on them who haven't bothered to send them in. You could definitely have more, but I think to your point, I think most of them would not get a 10. I think your gem rate would drop precipitously if more people really started submitting those, because a bunch of those are not going to get it. Look, I made the joke about the quality control for Upper Deck. I submitted a bunch of those cards that I did in that Brad revealed earlier tonight. Those are my personal collection cards. I understood they're going in. Like I didn't even bother to like look over them with a fine-tooth comb, because I'm like, I know this foil, it scratches, like, there's dark edges to it. It's like, if I have to sit there and go searching through hundreds of cards to find one that has a clean edge, it's like I'm going to spend a bunch of time trying. It's not worth it. I just wanted the card for the PC as long as it wasn't like mangled. I was like, it'll just go in the box. It's going to be part of a collection of a bunch of them because it's basically a good chunk of a rainbow. Those are the rare pieces in the rainbow, but especially like the out of 10. Do you think a PSA 10 or PSA 9 would make that much difference on value on the out of 10? Not really. It's one of those things. If it's rare enough, it's not going to matter. But for something a little more common, like an Ovechkin Young Gun or something like that, it's not like the Ovechkin Young Gun is rare, but it's not, 1,000 cards. It's not ridiculous, especially when there'll be some demand. That's why I said to this question, I think we will get one more, but I think it'll be a period of stability right now. I don't think if the market is overall sliding down, then the card will slide down a little bit with the market. It'll follow it, but I don't think it's going to spike, and I don't think it's going to sink any faster than the rest of the market right now. It's just going to kind of hover around whatever the market's doing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So Nico says Sherry is Luke's counterpart on the show, right? Sherry is there in the HQ with Brad. So
Yeah.
she may at some point make her appearance, but it's going to be up to Sherry's schedule.
We're pushing her. She's in the chat now, so.
Did you talk to her agent? You should have at least you got to talk to the agent and get the retainer done, and then maybe.
You know what's great? Speaking about agents, not to get off topic, but I will mention this. I think it's pretty cool. But my nephew's a really good young hockey player. Anyways, he's 14. So we're going over this now. Like when agents first contacted me, it was my second year midget going into major junior. Now, so he's second year Bantam, U15. And after this weekend, they won the tournament, a big tournament here. And anyways, he's a good hockey player and a good kid. But he might have had, I'm going to say 15 different agents from different agencies have all contacted him. I'm like, he's a good hockey player, but I'm not saying he's a superstar by any means, but at that age already, 15 different agents contacted the kid. It blows my mind away.
Well, I think at this point, a lot of these agencies are trying to get in on any talent whatsoever as early as possible. Like as soon as we basically started the PSA Canada show, I know for a fact Luke was reached out for 150 agents.
Yeah,
but it's like it's different. They saw the star quality early, so they're like, we got to get in on this on the ground floor as soon as we can. That's the only way. The endorsement deals.
Connor Bedard must have had at 9 when he was 9 years old. Who knows, right?
Oh yeah. So is there like an age limit that they have to the agents have to wait or no?
Well, I think to sign a contract, they have to be an adult or have a parent sign. But aside from that, like they're child actors. Like in reality, to get an agent for entertainment is like it can be whenever, but you do have to have an adult.
Yeah.
Preside over this. Like a 9-year-old can't sign a contract. It wouldn't work.
College, they can't sign. Can they sign agents like whatever
Yeah,
agent
sure.
call, like
Yeah.
for football and things like that? Yeah.
You're an adult. You can sign a contract. Why not?
Yeah.
For somebody's representation. Yeah.
The one guy that was, I think, the best out of all of them, that he just said, look, we're not signing anything. We're just we'll have a verbal agreement. We're here to help you out. And if you get to that point when all of a sudden our services are needed, then you just commit with us and we'll take care of it. So there's a lot of good ones out there too. So it's interesting, that's for sure. It brings back a lot of memories, but how the world has changed.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, to your point though, I think there's going to be a lot of those ones who are going to try the hard sell. I think it'll be smarter for a lot of them to kind of have at least a laid back approach to keep in the Rolodex, to keep the number nearby.
Yeah.
And because you never know, like you can be really good. Like the hockey world is full, just in hockey. The hockey world is full of a lot of can't miss prospects that didn't pan out for whatever reason. My buddy's a big Ottawa Senators fan, and he still recalls fondly Alexander Daigle.
Who's he?
Yeah. The sad part is he wasn't a bad player. It's the era in which he came out. The expectation level was all the way up here. In the end, he was like a perennial 20 goal scorer. Like, okay, look, 20 goal scorer in the NHL, like that's not insulting. And it was you're talking like the mid 90s is when he really came up, like 93-ish. But remember, the mid 90s was like the trap era. And he actually scored about 20 goals for a good chunk of time again with a terrible hockey team. Like the Ottawa Senators were truly a horrific team. So it's like he wasn't garbage. He just wasn't the second coming. And I don't think anybody could have saved that team anyway. Like I don't think it would have mattered who you got. But the expectation was not matching what the expectation was for him. to what that team could perform and what he was able to do. And then later on, he had a little resurgence and had a couple of decent seasons towards the tail end of his career. You could do worse. Lots of guys didn't even make it that far.
I'll tell you, when I played one game against Dag when the lockout, he came back and played for Victoriaville.
Yeah.
And his talent level compared to everyone else on the ice was like he was up here and everyone else was down here. He was that talented, especially going from the NHL back to juniors. So.
Well, the thing though is, but think about that though, and he's considered a bust.
100%.
Like and like, look, at least he had a career. He played some seasons. Was it what people expected? No. But that's why I always hesitate to be like when a lot of folks like prospect. It's like you do understand there's a lot of guys who have talent. It's like the NBA thing as well. NBA, you get some of these NBA guys who are busts. Like, oh, it was complete bust. You go take them to local YMCA and they'll be dunking on fools. Like they'll make them look like idiots. It's like, oh my God, they'll look like a god. It's like because they are good, but the problem is you're playing against the best. Well, all those other guys were the best and would demolish a YMCA anywhere in the world anyway. So now you put them all together, it's like, well, now you really have to be elevating yourself to really stand out because now you're talking another tier of player. And that's for any professional sport. You're really good. That's the reason you're here. But so is that guy, and so is that guy, and so is the guy on the bench. That guy on the bench is probably pretty good too. But he's on the bench because these other guys are even better.
Yeah.
So, Luke, in that sense, any other prospecting advice you want to give? The answer should be no.
Nope. J Rod scored. I think the other day. I was happy.
He's up to 30 goals, so he has. He's still having a good season. I think, unfortunately, his pace of like 5 trillion goals, when Luke made his original pronouncement has gone by the wayside.
What's his PSA 10 sell for now?
What's that?
What's his J Rob's PSA 10 selling for now? Like I think it hit 700 at one point. I'm sure.
There, yeah.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good at one point. But again, I will remind everybody they made a lot of young guns, man. Like, there's a lot of them.
I feel like it's got to be back down to like 400 now, 400 or 500.
I'm going to try to see if I can find it. I'll see if I can take a look. By the way,
I know
guys,
we're
just go ahead.
I was gonna say his raw authentic SPA whatever. I think it was around $400 or $500 for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can see January 18th there was a 10 that finished in auction, 380 US. Another one was a best offer accepted 525. Somebody snookered themselves. You shouldn't have done best offer. You should have waited for auction. The Future Watch PSA 10 1500 USD, and that was earlier tonight. So right now with the Future Watch, honestly, obviously the Young Gun is the classic, but I like the Future Watch. I'm a fan of the autograph card. I like those. But yeah, I wouldn't be buying any of these myself. Should I repeat that?
I was gonna say it's both $500.
Yeah.
PSA 10s. Yeah.
I think it depends though, because like I said, an open auction, I think you can get it under 4. Like if it's open auction, because it doesn't go quite that high. Mm-hmm. Also, it depends, I guess, what time of the day you're going. I'd be looking myself though for the money. The OPG Platinum PSA 10, one of them sold about a week ago for $595. Honestly, and that one's autographed. So honestly, I prefer that card myself if I was looking from collector perspective. Obviously, the Young Gun is the more popular one, but I like the Future Watch too, obviously, but that's more expensive. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess to each their own. Either way, it feels like the price is inflated for me. For my taste, the price would be inflated. I wouldn't be in on that. You kind of missed the boat on that one. But you can only hope that he goes back to his scoring ways and the Baubles pumps him some more. That's the only hope. Otherwise, you're in a little bit high.
So my favorite cards out of all of them are OPG Platinum. It's my number one. Great. I think it's awesome. It's going to be more expensive this year. I think it's coming out. The box price is up at least 50% over last year, maybe even double. Yeah. Ooh. Like I know. I was shocked when I seen it. So I think it is. It's up at least 50% over last year's box price. But that was my favorite. I think it was $150 a box. You could buy Platinum for and on-card autos plus all the variations. I think it's an awesome product. I think people will catch on.
I think that's a mistake, though. I think that's a mistake, though, because the whole point, part of what makes it fun, is that it is a chromium product and it's accessible, like in relative terms. And by the way, guys, right now we're just chatting. We already covered our main points. Did the PSA reveal? I'll probably do some more on my own channel tomorrow. But for the most part, we're just kind of hanging around and chatting. Anything else you guys want to chat about, we can certainly do that. I want to make sure you understand you're included in this conversation as well. You're part of it. Luke is currently watching his soap, so he's distracted. But that's right. Brad and I have got you, so we'll keep an eye on the chat. Brad, have you added any more to your set lately? From Josh.
Yeah, I did. I just bought another Braden Point. 2016-7. I'm assuming he's talking about my O-Pee-Chee Platinum Orange set. So, nice. Yeah, I picked up a Braden Point last week off of eBay, PSA 10. So I think I have 9 of the 15 Braden Points now. Don't ask me. I mean, Braden Point is one of my favorite players. So, but I think I'm stopping on the other guys. I think building multiples up. Oh, I bought a Sebastian Aho as well 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So I think I got maybe 5 or 6 of those. I'm not exactly sure. So the guys I need for my set, Ryan Pulak, Vrana, Brendan Lipsick, and Chris Bigris are the 4 guys that I've been looking for since 2016. So what's that now? 7 years.
The orange slice or orange? Is orange?
This was just the orange. I don't know if it's called orange slice. I know that is a parallel. I'm not sure if that's the exact one we're talking
I think that's a new one, but no, orange checkers was the last time, right?
Yeah, I don't like those as much. Like I don't like the two when they get into. These are the ones that.
Yep.
Go this side.
Yeah, just tilt it down a little bit. Tilt the front down. There you go. Yep. Nice.
Like there's not too much flash on them. They're just orange. They're numbered out of 15. I love them. I think they're So that's the Braden Point I just picked up. Another PSA 10.
Nice.
So I've got a PSA 10. These are all my Braden. A couple Beckett's that I have to. 3 more Braden Points.
I was going to say liberate them from the prison.
Yeah, I'm going to. Honestly, I just started to crack them.
So Paul and Josh confirmed that the orange slice is a lure. So I knew that existed, but it's a lure is the one they put that in. Can I show you guys something? I want to get your thoughts on this. So we're gonna play a quick game. While we were chatting about what we were just chatting about a second ago with the Robertsons and the whole thing, the rookie Robertsons. I was just scanning through, looking. That's where I was getting the prices. By the way, I went on 130 point. I didn't go to any of the paid ones. That's free. You can check out 130 point. I recommend it if you're just checking some price comps and stuff. It's easy. I got here Jason Robertson from Metal Universe. So I like Metal Universe. I'm a fan. I enjoyed that especially. But this is his rookie year one. And it's the blue Spectrum. So I'll share with you the card. And what I would like you to do is I want you to tell me what you think it went for. This was a best offer. So this is a PSA 10 blue Spectrum, which is a nice looking card. I like it. It's a parallel to the base. Jason Robertson rookie year. It is a PSA 10.
Are they numbered?
Nope. These ones are just a parallel to it. They are not numbered, but it is a PSA 10 of the blue. Now you guys know from the Metal Universe, they do chip a little bit. So the 10 actually, so it's not super condition sensitive. You can definitely get copies of the card, but it's not bad as far as
I'm going to say $130 Canadian.
$130 Canadian. Luke, thoughts?
$380.
Interesting. What if I told you $50 US? Best offer. This was on Christmas Eve.
Get out of here.
If somebody was paying attention on December the 24th, they could have bought that for $50.
Yeah.
Per PSA 10, already in the holder. That feels like a good deal. That feels like a solid buy to me. Look, I'm not going to get into Luke's, buy, but I'm saying like for $50, I feel like you're okay. I feel like you're doing all right on that. Just saying, just throwing it out there.
I like that. That's something we should bring in there.
Yeah. And I think it is the retail exclusive. I forget, but look, I'm a big fan of looking out for those parallels because it's slightly tougher to come by than the base, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be super crazy. That's not a numbered one, so it's not too nuts. But it feels like there are sometimes some opportunities there. Again, you got to look for it. In this case, the person took the best offer, so good on the bidder. So applaud them for that. That was a good call. I wish I had seen it. I would have offered 60.
It's good to see. I'm going to give a little plug too, guys. Like I know we're talking off topic tonight. Like we're going to have a little more structure. We want to talk about certain points, which we always do at the beginning. We give people the opportunity in the chat. but also Friday night. Like I see Logan on here, and Logan's from Halifax, great young guy. He'd really enjoy watch Friday night show. I mean, he's asking a lot of questions and engaging. Friday at 9. Oh, 8 Eastern.
So it's 8 Eastern. 8 Eastern.
I know,
It's
8
9 for
Eastern.
you. 9
Yeah.
in your neck of the woods.
Everybody should tune in. If you just want to hang out, I try to tune in and be on as much as I possibly can. But if you just want to talk with the guys, a lot of the guys that are in the chat here as well, have some fun, relax, make fun of each other a little bit or a lot.
That happens a little bit, yes.
Yeah, and it's educational as well. There's a lot of good components that come from it, but it's hobby talk. It's true hobby talk, so it's awesome.
Agreed. Thank you. And the channel is just basically like my name. So if you search that up in YouTube, because I'm Carlos, you'll find it. Basically, on Friday nights we hang out. I grab a panel of some folks. We are going to try to talk a little bit of football. I've got a football guy who is very much more in tune. I enjoy it a little bit more casually. I'm going to get one of the guys who's a lot more into it, like he's really into the weeds a little bit. I think it'd be kind of fun to get his take a little bit on how the matchups are looking. So I did invite him last week, and he said, yeah, I'd love to come on. So I'm going to reach out to him and see if I can get him to show up. I think that'd be kind of fun.
SCA?
Nope. No, I got one of the other guys. So we'll definitely get a chance to get some folks in there. I like to mix it up a little bit because I do have a nice Rolodex now of folks that I can reach out to come in, and then once in a while we'll go to the bullpen and we'll grab somebody in there. I bet Bob will pick that up. Could be. You never know. Eric agrees. Don't forget to ask see Carlos's coaster. Yes. I'm very proud of my coaster. I have the finest luxury coaster in the hobby. Mark here. Hey, Brad, check your email when you have a chance. Have one you're looking for. Nice.
No way.
Hey, you never know, man.
Oh my God, it exists. That just blows my mind away.
There you go. We love the interactivity. Thank you, Mark.
Is that vigorous?
Yeah. I honestly, I know that there's out of the 4, I know that Vrana, there's one Vrana that appeared and the guy wanted 400 US and he wouldn't take any lower. And I'm like, I'm not paying $400 US for the Vrana. I'm just going to wait. But that's the first time I've seen vigorous. I don't really want the card though, right? You know.
Wow. That's that right there was a masterclass in negotiation if ever you've seen one.
That just got me so excited. I can't lie. That's awesome.
Clearly you can. It's like do not take the words and actions of Brad Harlan as a negotiating tactic technique because not a masterclass. Very not. Now I was going to ask you guys. So I got a little distracted with the Jason Robertson pump. It's still on apparently, but thinking in the same vein with so there's 2 ones that I was thinking about, and I just thought I would bring it up to the chat and yourselves. 2 things. So first, congratulations to Stamkos on 500 career goals. That was one that I looked at. I don't feel like he ever got the love, though. I knew as he was approaching 500 goals, I go, that resume is looking pretty good. When you tack on a couple of Stanley Cups, 500 goals. I was looking at his Future Watch as well. Because honestly, I do like the Future Watch as like a secondary option. Obviously, the Young Guns is a fabulous one. But I love the autograph Future Watch. I just don't know if it's going to appreciate as much as you'd think it should, because I do love the 500 goal milestone. Like, look, in this generation, Ovechkin is in his own category, obviously, goal scoring wise. But even Crosby crossed 500, and Crosby has the Stanley Cups, and he's got. Crosby is almost underpriced in this era, given all things considered. Like, I'm not going to make that as a recommendation. Look, I don't even like Crosby, but I'm also not an idiot. I'm going to look at it and go, okay, well, if you add up all this stuff, it feels like that should hold some decent value. And it feels like there is an opportunity there because we're kind of comparing the 2 guys, and we got one guy who's like above and beyond as a superlative goal scorer who deserves value. But Crosby's got a lot of stuff going for him too. And when he's all said and done, we're going to look at all the hardware and go like, well, hey, good job by you. And I feel like that'll be recognized more so later on. So it's one of those things, like there is still a little bit of a window, I think, left to grab some of that. Stamkos, though, feels like he's one of those guys too. Like, because he's in Tampa Bay, you just don't look at him that much. But at the same time, it's like, well, he has 2 Stanley Cups. It's not bad. Yeah. Seems good.
Absolutely. And then Cup 2, he won the Rocket Richard.
Yeah. He was a 60 goal scorer once upon a time. Like, It's not like he doesn't have accolades. There's a couple pretty good ones that he does have. But it's like, it's almost kind of like just forgotten, just kind of just thrown, cast to the side. It's like, They did win back-to-back Stanley Cups there. Like
Yeah. No,
I think it's because
absolutely.
he's in Tampa Bay.
that's the problem, and that really is what it came down to. So like Josh covers it here. He's an off. That really hurt him. Just the fact that he's done all his damage in Tampa Bay is like it actually hurt, because otherwise, if he was like in a big market and he was doing the same stuff he had already done and had the rings and everything, you'd be like, oh, this guy should be worth more, right?
Mhm.
You'd think. I don't know. Just seems odd to me.
Yeah.
I believe Brad just said, "Take my money." He may have.
I did. Terrible poker face.
Yep. I love to see someone's reaction when you find a card you've been looking for a long time. Absolutely, Yannick. Absolutely. Now, shifting over, also playing a little bit into the playoffs this weekend. I was having some fun. I did some videos where I talked about it. So speaking the opposite, we joke about the Jason Robertson. Like I said, I feel like the prices are a little bit high, and I talked about some guys where I feel like the price at least has some room there. Brock Purdy, stay away, stay so far away. It's so expensive. Luke, you can't even make a pitch for Brock Purdy. Don't even do it. Don't even think about it. Stay away. I like the fact the kid has had some success, but man, this stuff's one of his cards sold for $22,000, man.
Wow.
And they don't even have like the good rookies available. We don't even have like the top tier stuff. It's not available. The product hasn't come out yet.
I can't comment too much on him, but it's pretty exciting to see what he is doing and how people gravitate to him. And I also, the one thing I did hear, he's just a great guy.
I'm sure, but the reality is he's playing for a very good team right now. Like he's playing for an excellent team that's well constructed right now. Now, could they still do some more damage? Absolutely. That San Francisco team, I'm looking at them to make a little bit more noise. And could Brock Purdy have an amazing playoff run? Sure. He could have an amazing playoff run and then accomplish nothing else in the rest of his career. Look, $22,000 is a lot of money to pay for a guy who was literally like a 7th-round draft pick. He was literally Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of that draft. And he's playing on a team that is already kind of stacked. So does that mean that you right now, and he's also made some horrific throws, but the team's really good. So it's one of those things like you can get away with it. And as long as you make enough throws, this could still work out. You could still win a Super Bowl ring out of this if that team plays up to that level. But I don't know. $22,000 just feels like a lot of risk.
I don't know, but wasn't Brady like the last pick?
He was like in the 6th round. He was there. He was thereabouts. The thing is, though, when he initially started, if you guys remember, like let's go back in the Wayback Machine here for a minute. Back in the early days, when the Tuck Rule game happened and history was irreparably broken for all time, and we're all doomed into this horrible timeline that we're in now. Then the Patriots team gets there and wins the Super Bowl. No one expected it. They were a huge underdog. Like if you had bet on the Patriots versus the Rams, the St. Louis Rams, the show on turf. One of my buddies in Massachusetts did in fact do that, and I think it was 35-1 odds he got. 35-1. Massive underdogs. You haven't seen an underdog like that since. Massive. So like no one expected it, but even then, I think his stuff appreciated. But Brady was 100% like. Look, I make the joke where I did the whole spiel with Brad. Look, for his first 3 Super Bowls, he was 100% a game manager. No one would argue any different. His job was to manage that team, do enough, do what Belichick told him to do, and they would win. And those teams were really well structured. In the second half of his career, the other part that I like to make fun of for different reasons, but that became then he had more of an offensive load to carry. Because go look at the stats. Go look at what he was doing those early years when the Patriots won 3 Super Bowls in his first 4 seasons. So that's like the first chapter of his career. Then there's a gap where they had a couple of opportunities, but they didn't quite get there. They actually went basically a decade without winning a damn thing. Then we've got the latter portion of his career. But by the latter portion of his career, now he's had the 50 touchdown season. That's after. The first part of it was game manager. The second half of it is, all right, now you are going to produce some offense. That now it is your part of your job here now. Now you must produce offense as well. Not just manage the game and don't screw it up. Right now, Brock Purdy, to your point, Brock Purdy has to be in the game manager category because right now we don't have any reason to believe he can flip the switch and do the other part. They could very well win a Super Bowl just on the back of the strength of that team, basically, as long as he doesn't screw it up. He just has to do the right things, execute the game plan well enough. Look, Jimmy G almost won with the San Francisco team not long ago, and Jimmy G's kind of bad. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy G's game at all. And I'll look at it and sometimes like, you studied under the very same tree. You were under Coach Belichick too. And I have to think in your head are a bunch of rocks because you make some dumb decisions. As much as I don't like the other guy, he would have made the correct decision. With the same personnel, he wins. Jimmy G did not win. But that San Francisco team is good this year. They're really good. I'm very impressed with what they do. They're the team out of the NFC that I think has the best shot. If a team in the NFC is going to win, I still favor the AFC. But if a team in the NFC is going to win, San Francisco's not bad. The point, though, is the team's so good. I feel like there's a bunch of quarterbacks who could probably do just as well with him as Brock Purdy. But a lot of people are throwing in their lot with Brock Purdy. They're like, oh my God, Brock Purdy, the promised land. To the moon. And I'm like, let's settle down from the moon. PSA 10 Stamkos, FYI, is really tough to get, so you might get a 10, might be good buys. Yeah, I think it would have been before this. Obviously, there's still, I think, a little while. I think Stamkos will be appreciated more, I think, when his career is over. And again, they add up the hardware, they add up his successes, and they look at his career in totality. Like, he's had a great career. He's got a Hall of Fame career, and I think all the pieces will add up for him. But right now, I just don't think the appreciation is quite there. Mm-hmm. Wings and Knights are playing. Man, those gold helmets are awful. Fair, Josh. But yeah, I'm just looking at it. And I'm kind of wondering, Brad, and the abstract question that I asked. Brock Purdy right now is an example, but the abstract question that I asked is, I'm looking at all the quarterbacks right now. Herbert obviously got hurt because of the way the Chargers lost, but he was the golden boy for a minute. Now Trevor Lawrence is the golden boy for a minute. They may or may not do anything. Brock Purdy is the golden boy for a second here because that team's doing well. But I'm looking at all these guys, and outside of Mahomes, none of them have yet to compile any real accolades yet. Mahomes has gone to 2 Super Bowls. He has a Super Bowl championship. He's got the MVP. But I did the comparison. I said to like the Aaron Rodgers thing. And I said Aaron Rodgers' career is deemed to be a disappointment because he didn't quite accomplish as much as he should have with his talent. He did miss out on some opportunities that could have happened. But I'm looking at these other guys. I go, most of you would be lucky to have the same career he had. Mm-hmm. He at least did win a championship. He is a 4-time MVP. Which one of you is even going to be a 4-time MVP? Most of you are not. And I said, even if I'm nice and I say Herbert's going to win an MVP, maybe a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence wins a Super Bowl and an MVP. I'm being nice. For the sake of argument, let's spread the wealth. Let's say they all have some success. They all have a championship, Josh Allen, all of them. But that means this entire era is split between about 4 or 5 of you. None of you becomes the dominant guy. That means that I'm looking at the prices for the top guys, and I go, all of you are going to be technically a disappointment value-wise in the hobby because we're going to look back at all of you and go, yep, you all got a Super Bowl. You all got a couple of MVPs, maybe 1 or 2. Mahomes maybe has 3 and a couple of Super Bowls. So who is the dominant player? Who should we be paying these top dollars for? Sounds like none of y'all. Because you're all kind of the same. You're all pretty good. I don't know. It's a worse version of the Dan Marino and John Elway thing. Both those guys came out of the same rookie class. And they're both great. But which guy is the dominant guy? Elway or Marino?
But it's the rest of the team that they didn't have, right? So
I understood. But I'm saying, like, this era right now, there seems to be so much good quarterback talent. Like, good. Not transcendent, but really good. Mahomes is the only guy who's shown a little bit more. But it's going to be tough in this. My point is, it's going to be tough in this era for anybody to rack up any dominance, to separate themselves from the pack. That's the point I'm trying to make here. And if you can't separate yourself from the pack, how do you stand out? Mm. And I'm looking at these inflated prices that are already baking in dominant success. And I go, well, you can't all dominate. The math doesn't work out. You can't all be dominant simultaneously. Somebody's got to lose these matchups. Even if you're playing each other in the Super Bowl every year, one of you's got to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think the parity that is coming and the talent pool that is, I don't think you're going to see these dynasties anymore. Just my personal opinion in all 4 of the big sports. I feel like the days of dynasties are behind us.
Which I think will make things really interesting because right now there's a bunch of folks paying for dynastic play that I don't think they're going to get.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So good luck. I guess we'll have to all buy J-Robs as per Luke. That's our only hope. That's the only thing we got left. Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right, guys, so let's start winding her down here. If you got any last questions or comments, feel free to throw them in there. Like I said, we're going to start planning a couple of these out so we can have a little bit of an agenda also to come into it. More than anything tonight was just to go through a couple of things, do the PSA reveal, and then chat a little bit. And then you got all our hashtag investment talk. By the way, don't follow any of our suggestions. They're all terrible ideas. Just to be clear.
And I do want to emphasize the point again that I said earlier is check and see. There's going to be a ton of invoices coming out over the course of the next 4 or 5 days. So We got a lot of orders that are arriving. I just went on just to see. Hopefully those boxes arrive tomorrow. If they do, we can start invoicing. And they left Mirabel, Quebec, or they're hopefully leaving on that plane tonight. They'll be here in Dartmouth tomorrow morning, and we'll pick them up. So there's a lot of them.
Nice. I like it. Sounds good. But otherwise, folks, same thing. If you check it out on the replay, feel free to throw questions in there as well because they do get seen there. If you need to check statuses, check out the website. It's been scrolling at the bottom of the screen the whole time. You can also check out the Instagram. Contact information there for either place so you can reach out to the team to get updates and information if you have questions about any of the above as usual. Otherwise, on your way out, if you can hit the like button, it is always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to start trying to make a push headed towards the next tier here. So do it. Don't do it for me. Do it for Luke. Because then he'll give us more wonderful, glorious picks. And I think we'll all appreciate it and enjoy that. And like, look, that's what you all secretly want. I know that's what you want. And we'll give it to you, but we need more subscriptions. And we need those likes. So we need those two things. Anyway, other than that, we'll catch you all next week. It'll be Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time once again. And we will catch you in the next one.
Great. Thanks, guys.